Hey there, and happy Wednesday. So, Okaboji, that is kind of my carrot dangling. I'm going to give you guys 3 videos today in between finish up laundry, packing, all the fun stuff. Not only packing like for my suitcase, but packing for what am I going to craft with, and also packing because I'm vending. So I bring lots of 12 by 12 designer series paper, 12 by 12 plain colored or solid colored cardstock, embellishments. I actually bring some dies and bundles and things that I am done with and have them reasonably priced, and just cards that I've made, I bring those. And so even for those that don't craft or stamp, they have those to look forward to, and I need to replenish those boxes, so I'll be working on that. So let me know if you're going to be there and if I will get to see you, because the person that's in charge of the registration and such, she said we've got some new people signed up, and then sometimes I'll get there and I'm like, I didn't know you were coming, and you might have heard it through the advertising that I do and such, so that's always fun. So let me get started. Today this is going to be the most intense card of the 3. And this one's going to be a fun fold for you guys that like fun folds. And it'll be featuring the Turtley Sweet collection that I'm going to break down, because if you're thinking after seeing the card like, oh gosh, I really like this, don't buy it as a suite or a bundle or anything, because prices, now that a lot of these things are on last chance, prices are dropped if you buy them individually. So let me get my camera turned around for you guys. Okay. Oops. There we go. Okay. So I feel like my desk and my whole room is looking cleaner and cleaner as I put together some projects I'm going to be working on and things that I want to pack, and like kind of like when you're a kid, or when I would clean up my kids' toys, it's like, oh my goodness, you know, you clean things up and it just makes it seem much more exciting and you want to play with it then, right? All right, hello there, Card Stampin' Granny. Good to see you on here, Linda. Okay, once again, here is the card. And some people have, when they were doing this card at a recent class, they wanted to put adhesive here and keep that so that it would stay folded down, and that is totally fine, because your card will still open nicely. And so that's an option. I'm going to make it, oh, I've got some like glue on there. I'll take care of that later. But I'm going to make it the full way up, just so that you can see how that is, and either way is fine. There's no right or wrong. So I like to show you that, because people might say, oh, I make this card, but that's not how I do it. And that's okay. And actually, I'm copying this card today from Melissa Faust. I loved her idea. I changed it up a little bit, but kept with mostly like the same fold and everything that way, and just made a few changes to make it my own and make it in a way that I thought people at my classes would like to see it. All right, so this annual catalog will be the last one that we'll see for a while that says annual catalog, because now all the catalogs are starting to arrive in people's mailboxes. I heard yesterday, I think, for the first time that catalogs were arriving. And so we will have quarterly catalogs. So every 4 months there will be a catalog. So there's no annual and minis. There is just a thinner catalog 3 times a year. So from here, these are going to be going away. So we've got, I made some notes, totally awesome. The stamp set that I'll be using today, instead of being $20, is down to $12. The coordinating dies, which actually cut out a lot of images from these cute papers, the dies were $28. They're now $16.80. The ribbons $5.95. These hexagon shapes, which I use a ton because they're kind of those chameleon embellishments, and you'll see them here in a little bit. I just realized I forgot to get my supplies over. That's why my desk looks so clean, you guys. Okay. But anyway, these I call my chameleon, and you'll see them when I use them, that there's a lot. It's called Shades of Green, but it kind of covers all of them from light to dark. They were $8, and now they are $6.40. The embossing folder here was $8.50. Now that is $6.80. And the designer series paper, that's shown here for $12.50 is now $7.50. So you could get, I had one person that said, yep, I love this card. I'm just going to put some of these things in my cart, just put the stamps, dies, embellishments, paper, embossing folder and such, and came out with a really good deal on that. All right, I'm going to just put this here. I'm going to see if I can prop it up while I go grab my container of stuff. All right, so yes, when I go to my classes, if you go to my classes too, you'll see that I have this. And maybe it's good to show this every once in a while, because I think people are like, how does she do that? What does her setup look like? Oh yeah, there's a dimensional here stuck to the blends from the time that I did this class. Okay, so I can fit basically everything from my project. I've got my embellishments in here. I've got my 2 3/8 circle punch that fits in there. I've got the 3 stamps that we'll be using. I don't bring the whole stamp set. I like to have my stamps ready to go on the blocks, my Memento black. And then if we need dies, which that I had out, I put them, I reuse my dimensionals, the dimensional packaging. I just cut off the flap and put it back in here so it has a backing. And then the dimensional, it's always sticky. So when I go to classes, then I can just stick my dies in here and go like that. And it makes it really nice. And then often I stick this right inside this. And so this is about 8.5 by 11. My friend, crafting friend Nancy, she was going through some things and she's like, is this anything you'd be interested in? And I said, of course. And she had about a dozen of them and I use them all the time. Okay, so how my card kind of started, this is also something that you don't often see behind the scenes in the background. So for today's card, it is 8.5 by 11, cut the long way at the 4 1/4 here to get two cards. Often what I do is I take the full sheet, and this one is scored at 5 1/2, and then 6 3/4, and 8 7/8 to count there. But what I love about our scoring tool is like these little pegs I just keep in there, knowing that I'm going to be doing the scoring there, and then I get out my giant Carl cutter that can cut 8 full sheets of cardstock at a time. And so I love my scoring tool, and this is for everybody. Like this is something, the scoring Simply Scored tool, it's a Stampin' Up! Product, but I think sometimes people don't see that. They ask like, how do you do all that prepping in the background? Well, that is how. So now you've kind of seen the background. Let's get started with the card. So let me grab my scoring tool here. I'm just going to fold this in half, and then this is going to open like this and like this. I just kind of want to make sure that sometimes after a couple scores and such that it is actually square across the top and the bottom like that. So that's how that is going to go. And normally I start with the focal point. On today's card, I'm actually going to start with kind of the inside layers. So what I did is I took some two-tone cardstock, Granny Apple Green, cut it 4 inches by 2 1/4, and cut it into 1 inch and 1 1/4 pieces. So the 1 inch piece will go on this side and the 1 1/4 will go there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on my card here. So I like this fun embossing folder that looks like a turtle's shell. So that's kind of a fun thing. There. And once again, this looks like fun spring colors, which I'm totally getting into if you haven't noticed. So my other cards today, the next one will be a sympathy card, and that will have some purple, so nice spring colors too. And the other one will be kind of a sneak peek card, as well as a possibility for a Father's Day card, but it can be a nice guy card, but it can be for anybody. It doesn't look totally masculine, but I like to point out when they can be, because often those are the ones that are hard for us to find. Okay, so in the Turtley Awesome stamps, there's these two birds together. So I'm just going to ink them up in Memento and stamp them out there. So it's always kind of fun. Birds always look like they were having a conversation, don't they? Yes, thank you so much, Linda. Hi there, Kathy. So yeah, this one is going to be fun, a little bit more time consuming. And another thing, sometimes just the concentration of staying focused on camera. I've never thought I had ADHD, but sometimes just making sure I'm telling the right measurements, the right details, have the right things. All of that can get exhausting. So I thought, Belle, start with your hardest card first today if you're going to be crazy and do 3 videos. So then next, we've got some options here. So this is Shaded Spruce. I forgot to tell you the color of this. This is Shaded Spruce. And then this is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And this is Designer Series paper from Turtley Cute 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. So you can see there's some fun turtles on the back side that you could fussy cut, or some of them, like I say, have die cuts for it. And then I thought this is kind of fun. This is retired, but I don't mind showing that. Do you remember last year, the ducks on the pond, Greenery Lane, was it? Or something Lane? Oh boy, I should, hold on. Here we go. I forgot that I had it laid out. Lily Pond Lane, that's it. So if you ever had any of this 6x6, I think this goes so cute with this card too. And keeping in the theme of, if I have something that might work, it's kind of fun to give people choices. So let me, oh, am I out of adhesive here? It almost looks like I'm close. It's working again. Sometimes I'll be busy and don't even realize it's running out time for my adhesive. Close. Okay, so now this is ready to go on here. And what I tell people, don't put your adhesive on here like you're used to putting adhesive and then sticking, because some of this is going to be overlapping. If you put it on all of it, you're going to end up sticking your card shut. So I told people at class, put as much as you want for adhesive onto this strip right here that's folded. And then what you're going to do is just kind of eye between the 2 green sections and just press that down. So this might be exactly even, depending, you know, on how your folding is and such. And not that it has to be that intensely accurate, but you'll see, and then it'll lay nice and flat. And like I said, if you're a person that likes to just glue that down, then you might want to move your birds over, do your adhering down with your tape or whatever, and then you'd still have that much to write on the inside. So that's fine with that. Okay, so now let's build up this. With my 2 3/8 inch punch, I'm going to just pop some crumb cake in there and punch that out. And I'm going to set that aside and do some stamping. So we've got the turtle here. I'm going to get out my Stampin' mat because he's just kind of big enough that I want to make sure I get a good impression on my stamp mat. And I'm going to bring over some basic white and just stamp him on this section of basic white. And then as long as I've got my ink out, I'm going to do the It's Okay to Take It Slow. And somebody's like, gosh, what would I send this for? It's okay to take it slow. And I thought that would be kind of fun to do for a get well card. Somebody that is having like a bigger, older birthday, like, oh, it's okay to take it slow. Like you can move slower now, and kind of fun that way. So keep that in mind. Just, you know, maybe somebody that's had a rough time with their health. And I know when I was recovering earlier this year, it was hard for me to take it slow. And then after I got into that routine, it was kind of hard for me to take it fast again. I kind of had to go, Belle, you can't keep continuing to watch this much TV on a regular basis. I think I would have felt different too if it wasn't winter, but it was cold out, and actually my husband said I'd prefer if you want try to be a hero and go outside walking when it was icy and such too. So Yes, so that would be a good thing to take it slow. All right, so let me get out this turtle die here and okay, get him lined up. This is the only die cut that we're using on the card. There, so I'm just going to run him. Sometimes I will do more than one. Oh, I was like, kind of made a clatter noise when I put it down, and then I couldn't find my regular top cutting plate. Well, that was underneath my machine. Now it all makes sense. There we go. Okay, things are only going to get better today, right? Okay, now let me actually get this closer, because when I colored, I haven't done like intense coloring here for a while. And let me see if I can get this closer. I have to remember where the camera is here. So I've got all these blends. I've got light and dark. Yep, dark and light Granny Apple, dark and light Crumb Cake, and then dark and light Old Olive. And I'm actually going to start with the dark Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to trace around his head here. I always tell people, sometimes when I hear that squeaking noise at a class, I'll be like, if these markers are seeming dry, let me know. I have a to-go, it's called my panic bag, to-go bag. And so if I'm ever using blends, because I think if you color with alcohol markers very often, it seems like they will just be working fine one card, and the very next card, or even the same card, but like 3 strokes later of putting ink on, all of a sudden it's just dry. And my biggest fear has been always like, oh gosh, I don't want to be in the middle of a class and have a marker where I can't replace it. So I always bring a backup of colors for that reason. So if ever you're at a class and that happens, just let me know and I can get out my backup. Okay, so I went all around it with the dark Granny Apple Green. Now I'm just going to fill in, and I try and catch those edges to just kind of smooth that out there, and just pull the Granny Apple Green light and dark together. So you can see that and that. And of course, when it comes to coloring, this takes a little bit of time. That color's done. And next I'm going to go with my Crumb Cake. Same thing for the shell here. When it comes to coloring at classes, some people, it's just funny to read the room, and some will go, oh, yay, we get to color. And others will be like, ooh, we're coloring here? Like, and almost like look around like, is there anybody here that I can say, can you do my coloring for me? Maybe not that bad, but sometimes I don't know if they literally do look around the room, and sometimes I don't know if it's that. Okay, dark Crumb Cake applied, and then I'm going to go over it with the light, or if they're looking around the room like, oh my goodness, how many other projects do we have that we need to color with today or tonight? But I will say, when it comes to coloring, because I know it's not everybody's favorite, I do try and limit the coloring to just 1 or 2 projects, just so it doesn't get to be so intense time-wise too. All right, so the Crumb Cake's done. Now I'm going to switch to the shell here, and I'm going to start with dark Old Olive. And then before I get too far and forget the pretty nails, I'm going to do those first with the dark Old Olive, and do that there. And then I'm going to just color in the circles here on the shell. So yeah, definitely one of these a little bit more intense cards. But when I have ones like this at events, in case you're ever thinking, oh, I'd like to attend her event, know that I try and switch up time-wise, like so that they're not all intense. Hello there, Wendy. Okay, now I'm going to come in with some light Old Olive, and that I can color right over those circles, and that's fine. And it's fine if I do it over some and not over others. And I didn't outline the shell just because there was enough going on with the circles and such. So there we have all those colors: Granny Apple Green, Old Olive, and Crumb Cake. How cute is he? Yay, Marie, it's good to see you. Okay, let me try and pull out of this screen a little bit, pop it up here. Don't want to make you dizzy, but I also just want to get away from that a little bit so that your eyes don't go, oh my goodness, that's way too close. And now we're just going to finish building this up, which is super quick. Oh, actually, before I forget, because I know I would, let me just take my old olive here and go over these birds quick. I'm going to go with a light old olive here. Just kind of add a little bit of color there, and then dark old olive, because if I'm gonna kind of follow through with something from the outside of the card, from the stamp set to the inside, then I want to make sure that I actually colored these guys in. Sometimes I'll just put an image and not color it. That's often how I do it, but I thought this just takes a little bit of ink and they're so cute. Okay, so let me grab some dimensionals here. And okay, if you watched my video yesterday and I talked about how I take off 2 to 3 dimensionals off of a full sheet as I prep the sheet to lay out at a class so that it doesn't look like a piece of paper that people will stamp on, this will make sense. A lot of times they end up on a sheet that looks like this. Okay, and now this I'm going to put not quite in the middle, maybe down a little bit because I want to save space for the sentiment there. And then we're going to put some dimensionals here on Mr. Turtle, about 3. So I did 3 on the circle and then 3 on the turtle. I don't want to get it too bulky so that if it goes in the mail, it's not going to be too thick. So here we have him. And then remember, we stamped out the, it's okay to take it slow. I'm just going to trim that like so, and then I'm going to put 1 dimensional here on the very end, and then just add a little bit of adhesive there so that it stays or sticks to that circle, and then also is popped up to be the same height as the circle on that edge there. Now for these embellishments, oh my goodness, I've been using them tons. You can tell, like, where's the one that hasn't, or that has all the colors I need? Shades of green. So if you're just joining in, at the beginning of this episode, I went through all the products that I'm using today that are on sale. So these were $8. They're now $6.40. You guys love them. Like I said, it goes with everything green to turquoise. So even these light ones I've used on some yellow projects and such. So just been really fun to use that with. Let me grab a couple of these larger hexagons here. And so the tiles kind of remind me of a game that we played with our kids that had the clear tiles, really durable. I remember it was kind of fun, and you had to block your enemy or opponent with them, but that's kind of what they remind me of there. All right, it's okay to take it slow, folding out like that. So there you go. Like I said, I copied this card for the most part from Melissa Foss, so don't give me all the kudos. That's for her, and I'll be posting a still shot with that as well, but hopefully you can look back at this for measurements and make something your own too. Especially, I like cards that use 12 by 12 in this nice 3 by 4 inch panel, because then you can get a lot of card fronts made with that easily without a lot of waste too. All right, so I will leave you for now, and just know that in between me coming live with 2 more videos for you guys, that it's double reward, Stampin' Reward. So anytime you place an order for $20 or more, instead of getting 10% rewards back from Stampin' Up, you'll be getting 20%. So today, tomorrow, and Friday. So take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.